This is GX UK, an affordable owner-driver karting series, and I'm giving it a try. But to do that, I need a kart. And so that's what this video is, building it from scratch and then going and testing this thing to see what this championship is all about.
Right, so this is Brad, and he's invited me along for a race weekend in one of these things. And we have a brand new kart in pieces back there we're going to build throughout this video and then drive at the end. But this is Brad's kart. Can you take me through what it is, what it's about?
Yep, so this is a 401 racer Tony kart. This is for racing in the GX UK Championship, although it could race in various categories around the world. Rotax Max is probably the one most people have heard of, or X30. We run with an unrestricted GX 200 engine.
And so the regulations are so that it's cheap, right? And that's one of those things. What are the other things to keep this as low cost as possible?
So first of all, the chassis. This can't be any newer than 2018. You're not allowed to buy lots of new tyres. That's probably the biggest cost saving in terms of a running cost. So one set for the season, which is actually included in your entry fee. So costs are kept in check because you physically are not allowed to go and buy more and more of something which would potentially give you quite a bit of a performance advantage.
So I've been on at Brad about coming down and racing for a while. I've chosen the right guy because this kart is currently winning the championship. He's made a load of videos over on his channel. We're gonna build one from parts, get it ready, and then go and race it at the end of this video. So what have we got here on the floor then?
So here we have another 2016 chassis, so exactly the same as the one you've just seen. And we've then got a bunch of bodywork, so things like the rear bumper, that's a modern OTK plastic rear bumper, pretty standard. We've got what's called M6 bodywork, so the side pods here are, again, pretty modern. I put you some nice fresh stickers on there though.
I can see.
That's one thing we're not doing during this video, is applying the stickers. It takes quite a while, and I wanted to do that without any pressure. We've got something called the Hot Dog Nassau panel, but yeah, that's the very expensive, fancy, aerodynamic front fairing. And then some of the other parts we've got here, obviously wheels. We've got part magnesium wheels. In fact, a lot of the components on this kart are made of magnesium. Things like these front hubs, the rear hubs as well, the brake caliper, loads and loads of heat resistant and lightweight magnesium parts. We've got an engine pretty clearly over there, one of my best engines, so we won't have any excuses in terms of power.
Very kind.
We've got a steering wheel which I've pre-wrapped in the correct colour for the bodywork because they simply get very warm. And let's start by building up the front end. So yeah, things like the stub axles, the track rods, let's give you a working steering system and then we'll kind of work backwards.
Cool. So we'll pull the trolley in like here.
Yeah.
There we go. That is very light.
Okay, should we do some of the easy stuff first of all? I want to make you do some of this, so I could just knock this together.
Well, I was wondering if you do that side and I do this side.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Well, first of all, let's start with the thing that goes in the middle between both of them, and that is this. So
these are adjustable?
Yes,
you can put a different
you can take it out,
in.
You can turn it round. So you can either run it loose, out, in, or vertical. So vertical is the stiffest. We tend to run it in, but attached and done up. So
yeah,
simple as that. So this is the most brutal of any of them. There we go. There we go, that's on. Feel free to do the rest. And then you just basically do this up like tight, you know. Don't crack the magnesium mount, but okay, right, so that's the easiest thing done. Next, we should put in our stub axles.
There's all these washers on there. Are they spacers to fit this? So
yes. So those spacers, which I will have, yeah, I've got some here as well.
They go at the bottom.
So the standard setup is to have one at the top, one at the bottom. But we're running maximum front ride height to give you more front end, which I know again sounds completely counterintuitive.
It's all wrong.
But those both have to basically fit on top of that top fairing. But once you've seen it once, you're like, oh yeah, the chassis is now higher, but the stub axle is lower. Because the stub axle stays the same height relative to the floor, because obviously the tyres are attached to it. I'll keep checking your work to make sure it's okay, so you don't. Yeah, that all looks correct to me.
Don't do everything 3 times.
And then you've got your. See, this is going to be easy for you compared to a lawnmower because everything is designed to do what it does.
Yeah. It's not been made by me.
Yeah, you've got Thor. Look at that. See, Thor's already been used for his correct purpose. That's exactly the kind of thing you need Thor for.
If I were at home, that would have got a iron mallet, one single smack.
Okay. And in the spanners drawer, there are yellow spanners on the left-hand side. They're the 17s. If they're yellow, then they're 17s. And you want that one there, that's it.
You've colour-coded everything.
Yeah, if something's green, it's 10mm. If something's red, it's 13mm. If it's yellow, it's 17mm.
Oh, because they're the only sizes you
They're
use.
the main ones we use. And I'll nick that after you, because otherwise mine will be
How
loose.
tight do you go here?
As tight as it feels you need to. Don't need to go over tight. As long as the thing isn't moving up and down. See how my one's moving up and down because it's not tight? If yours isn't doing that, it's fine. And I'll just do the same. Okay, so we can leave those spaces on there. Let's do track rods. But yeah, this is a fiddly pain in the backside, this one. Just because there's so many washers you've got to hold at the same time. But you immediately put it in the right hole though, so that's good.
Look at it. Colour-coded spanners.
And we're going to set this steering geometry up with lasers later on.
That's mad.
We're going to need to put a fuel tank in. So since I've got this off, we might as well stick the fuel tank in.
Oh, because it goes in there.
Yeah. It's quite a bit of a squeeze to get this in actually. Ordinarily, you'd probably take the floor off to do this easily, but I'll let you see if you can wedge that in without bending the steering column. This actually isn't that easy to do with the floor on. I'm going to find an Allen key.
Oh, he's done it.
Have you? Oh, well done.
This is what
well
he does.
Done. I like that.
Unbelievable scenes. That's quite a neat fastener there. I like how
Yeah, it's lovely.
made to fit the chassis.
Yeah. Since we're doing the front, should we put the front hubs on? You used to have something like that on your side. So things like anything that could contribute to reliability we take quite seriously. So
Fair enough.
fresh bearings, and it doesn't make a horrible grinding sound. Now, you've slightly jumped the gun there with that. You've gone for a full wet front setup there.
Have I?
So what you want is
So you're playing with these spacers, I
yes.
see.
So you want one fat one, which is 1.5 centimetres basically. Which is
So those spacers, you can just literally undo that bolt and change the setup straight away.
If that doesn't want to go on, that's because there's a floating collar in the middle.
I got it the first time.
Yeah, you have to kind of put it on, and then you can put your finger in this end and literally lift up the spacer. I'm just going to check your workmanship that you've got the collar on the right way around. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. So there's a special tool for this too.
And that's a 19, right?
I think it is a 19, but
and it's taped on there so it can't ever come off.
Exactly, because we only ever use this tool with that socket. So you tighten it up until it's solid, but then you back it off until you can rotate this spacer. So now I can move the
makes
spacer,
sense.
and I know that it's tight enough it's not going to fall off. And this is why we don't do things like this up with power tools, because you just wouldn't get a feel for it.
Yeah, I do a good at most things on. So that's a hub.
Yeah. So again, magnesium. Now you've got a spacer here. I've done this to make sure that your rear width is the same as mine, but we use the softest possible rear axles anyway, so we're already quite flexy on the rear, so I don't mind.
Oh, so this is a setup thing.
Axles are a setup thing. I have a rack of different axles back here, all different stiffnesses, but we don't change them. We've found what we think is the best and we leave it.
Not being a karter, one of the strangest things when I look at this is that it's a hollow axle.
Yes.
I've only ever run a solid steel, like 25mm, not like this. What's that, like 50mm?
Yes, it is 50mm.
Based on what you said earlier, you're having the rear quite flexible so you have less grip so you can rotate the cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Which seems mad compared to a car. If you put a softer roll bar on, you have more grip.
It is almost the exact inverse of what you'd expect from car setup. Okay, so next, let's do steering wheel, because that's the next like main feature that you're missing. Painting these spanners is one of the best things
I'm going to do this now.
It's just
Initially I thought it was weird,
so easy.
Now I'm going to do it.
It makes life so easy. Now you'll notice these are loose, again, very deliberate. That is going to stay loose unless it's wet when we'll tighten them back up, because we want, again, another counterintuitive thing. And the bolt goes through from the back to the front, just like that. This is coming together nicely.
Gone from a pile on the floor to
Yeah,
all in one thing.
it's looking a bit more like a go-kart.
Yeah.
So why don't we fit the engine? The engine is going to come back off again for transport. And in fact, I'll probably keep the engine here in a box and then bring it to the track for you. But we can get it on and aligned so that it's ready to just plonk straight on when we get to the track.
Why do you do that?
Because if these engines tip backwards, they get oil in the carburetor, basically. So, right, yeah, good luck with this.
Right.
So yeah, you've got to hook the chain over the front sprocket first of all. This is another reason it's nice to have the gloves on. And then you have to slot it down, so you can obviously tip it slightly backwards to get over that. And then the chain's holding it on pretty well, so you should be able to stick in those mounts. Doesn't matter which mount goes on the front, which one goes on the back.
There we go. It is very nice having everything super clean and ready to go on. I should do this more often, like this. What we haven't said is that Brad has had this whole thing almost together, right? Check everything over, check everything works, so that we don't need to order any other parts. So we're making this look very easy, but because Brad's already put in all the hard work.
The things we're not having to do are finding problems. So I've already found any problems that this would have and bought replacement parts for those things and fixed them. But in terms of building and actually physically putting it together, this is quite a realistic view of what it's like.
Yeah.
It's just without all the things that hold you up and all the roadblocks that you quite often get.
When you said sealed earlier,
Yeah.
with a sealed engine, I didn't quite understand it was like this. I kind of thought there would be like little tiny plastic tags on it or something.
Okay.
That when you open the case and brake, I can see here there's literally a wire
Yeah.
connecting every bolt on the engine.
With a tag here with a serial number on. So you can see this was sealed by RPM. It's red, so it's a senior engine, so that means it's sealed without a restrictor in. So yeah, that's what that is. Pretty work then. Let's start with the one piece we actually have to bolt on, which is the Nassau panel. So this, oh, there's some dirt in here. That's not good.
So this has got a channel down it for aero.
Exactly, yeah, it's just aero. That's all it is. And these are unbelievably expensive, so you won't see everyone using this hot dog one. I was fortunate that this one came with it, but these are well over £100 for this piece of plastic, brand new. In fact, I think quite a lot more than that. Even second hand, it's hard to find one for under £100. So they tend to break, they're quite solid, and they're also quite sought after. But negligible performance advantage from having that aero.
I can imagine.
It looks, I think it looks cool. So yeah, we've got one on the front there and these two on the sides. There you go. This is coming together very well.
Yeah, there we go.
Cool, so he's on, we'll probably have to adjust exactly where he goes once this nose cone's on, so let's do the nose cone.
Here in the way.
Take my beer out of the way.
So does this just press in?
Kind of, yeah. So before you try and put that on, you've got these clamps here which need to be released. So just get them out of the way. And what you'll see is this red plastic bit in the middle here has space just there, so it can move up and down. So it moves up to allow you to put the nose cone on, then it clamps down on top of it once it's in.
Damn it.
Yeah, it'll go. There you go. Still got some side pods to put on. So you'll find there'll be actually a bolt currently sitting in the rear, so you just have to take that out.
So much prep, love it.
Mine's in at a slightly janky angle here.
There we go. Have we got a bolt for this end here?
No, what you've got is this red piece of plastic. So that pops down inside and goes flush with the top of the blue. So just basically push it and it should, that's it. And you just rotate this black rubbery thing until it goes around and covers the red thing. That's it.
Why is it like that?
To allow it to flex. Because now if you lift the side pod up and down, see, you've got flex in the side pod, which is exactly how it should be. So you run them loose, although you do the bolt up so it doesn't fall out, but it needs to flex like that. And if you fill mine, it does the same thing. Again, to allow the chassis to flex.
Oh, I see.
So that's why you don't have.
So none of this is holding this rigidly?
No, exactly. It's to allow it to flex. Okay, so probably wheels. That looks like the next thing. Things we haven't done yet. We haven't laser aligned the front, haven't laser aligned the chain. So we'll do the lasery setup-y bit in a sec. Quite quick, both of those things, because we've got the good tools.
So do you run dead ahead?
Yeah, you can choose. You know, if you wanted a bit more front end, this is an area where it is the same as in a car. If you want better turn in, you go for slight toe out. If you wanted to mute the front of it and blunt it slightly, you'd never really run toe in, but you could. But we run it dead straight because power is at a premium. We're restricted by how much horsepower we've got. We want as little scrubbing as possible, so straight ahead.
So how do these work then? So you use the spirit level to align them upright.
Yep, so just make sure the bubble's obviously right in the middle.
Oh, and then the laser points across at the other one.
Yep, and they're going to start off not being anywhere near each other. We're going to try and turn these the same amount on both sides, so like a half turn at a time. Just going to make sure I'm turning this one the right way. Yep, so they're both going to go forwards. And at some point, in fact, this is probably better if I close the garage door in a minute, but the laser should be bright enough. At some point, we're going to see a laser on both sides, and we'll double and we'll triple check this over and over. So that's dead in the middle. Oh, and I tell you what, thanks to used OTK, where I bought this chassis is dead straight as well. If you've got one laser up high and one down low, obviously there's a tweak in the chassis, but both of these have gone pretty much into the centre hole, which means that the chassis isn't bent side to side. Yeah, let's stick some wheels on.
Sweet. This is the best bit.
I'm going to give you your own private tool. Look at this thing looking like a cart. Without your number stickers, that's really annoyed me. Don't have the number sticker on. I'll just go like that and then that's fine. So apart from lubing it, that's ready to have some fuel in it and actually be started up. That'd probably be quite a good thing to do, wouldn't it?
Epic.
There we go, filter. Okay.
Needs a bit more fuel. Get a choke.
That's it, the choke's off now. It's...
Oh. There we go. This cart was in bits a couple of hours ago. Now it's on the stand and running. We just need to check if I fit in the seat now. So that's the next thing.
And on the rear, you kind of just like, hook your arms under the bumper like that. Oof.
Something like that.
Only people with this exact name can race this car.
All right, good morning. So after building the car, it is a few days later and we are now at the racetrack. It's Saturday, we're going to be racing this weekend. We're just about to go out and test it all day, see if this thing works. I'm incredibly excited and I do need to show you one addition. We have a new toy. I had a chat with Race Logic and they have sent me one of their units for the steering wheel of the cart, so I'll be able to see if I'm up, down, what I'm doing with lap time, so that'd be really cool to see. Let's hop in it and go out for our first session.
So, starting this thing up for the first time on the grid, and I am incredibly excited for this. So yes, 200cc Honda engines, and we're going to hop in these things and head out on the grid for the first time. Now, first thing I do want to mention is all of this data is courtesy of the V-Box I've got on my dash, so that's really awesome. So heading down into the first corner for the first time, on the brakes, turning it in, I was told before this that these things have zero grip on cold tyres, and that is absolutely the case. I turned into that first corner and got a load of understeer. So we're going to just try and get up to speed, but obviously everyone is coming out the pits behind us, very quick drivers who know their kart very well, they know this circuit, so there's going to be a lot of going backwards here as I figure these things out. So obviously I have done a fair bit of karting in the past, mostly rental karting, actually driving a supercar at one point, but this type of karting, owner driver, full race weekend, is new to me, so I'm learning all about this through this weekend. So as we jump into this test, this first session was mostly about going backwards but finding time. So you can see on the left there that we gained a fair bit of time through the session, and these were my thoughts afterwards.
So first session was really fun, a massive learning curve. I went out really steady. Everyone went by me and then I sort of figured my way out. I didn't manage to catch anyone, but I started to be on their pace, I think, a bit. Brad's just told me he did a 41.99 or something like that. So like that's the pace, and I did a 43.36. So this V-Box is already paying dividends because look at this. So here are all my times. I can then compare all of my lap times and see where all that time is going, about where I braked and where, like what sections of the track, and then I'm comparing that to my footage. This is really cool, really exciting. I love all this data-y, nerdy bits, so yeah, really cool.
So as we jump into this third session, we've done a fair bit of learning, and here we're going to just get some experience around other karts, racing other karts, trying to learn that side of things. Yes, I do think I got to a pace where I was about half a second off the top guys, but this session was going to be about seeing how these guys race, how they approach it. Again, my experience is mostly actually recently in lawnmowers, and so the racing is fairly gentle, I'd say, in that if you have collision, you're going to go off. And so these things, you can race a little bit harder, but also the margins are so fine. So trying to find moves is very, very difficult. And so this is what this session was about, trying to learn that. So as we're following 79, he does slip a little bit wide. We're going to stick a nose up the inside, but then trying to get momentum on the way out. He's had the longer run around the outside, so he manages to take the position back. We're going to have a look up the inside here again, see if we can get the move done. This time momentum on my side, and we do manage to get that position done. So yeah, just trying to learn racing other people. So we're going to have someone look down the inside, number 98, and he is going to get that move done. So we're going to slot in behind and see what we can do here. We are in a good little battle now, so let's see what we can do. So following him round the final corner, skipping a lap ahead, we're actually going to jump on board with Alex Van Gien, our teammate. We were next to him in the paddock, and so he is going to show us some footage from behind a second. So yeah, following 98, having a look up the inside, and you can see this great footage from inside the visor of Alex Van Gien. He also has a channel you should definitely check out. So you can see we're sat in behind. I'm number 82 for this weekend, looking up the inside of 98. No, not quite going to go for it this time. Getting on the throttle super early through that corner. Again, because these things have got so much grip and relatively low on power, you can get on the power so early, and you have to keep the momentum up. So we're following through here. I'm trying to get in the slipstream. A big learning curve for me was that the slipstream was so powerful here. So do slip wide a little bit, but tucking in the slipstream, you can see I am just driving away from Alex there, and we've got a great run. We're going to have a look down the inside of 98. Not quite got it done now, and then we get it done on the brakes up the inside, but that does mean I've run a little bit deep, so he cuts me back. A great move there, actually. And that was a great learning for the racing, which is going to be in the next video. You can see I stuck it down the inside, and just because I ran a little bit wide, number 98 saw that coming from a mile off and took me back. So yeah, he's defending hard, white lining it down the inside. He is going to move back across, and so we're slotting in behind, trying to get some momentum. And this circuit, just because it's so fast, there's not many heavy braking zones, only really the hairpin. Trying to build momentum up over a lap is really important. So yeah, I'm learning so much in this session. You can see I have gone a fair bit quicker with the times on the left, down into the 42s this time in slipstream, but that is battling other people, so I wasn't too displeased with that. We have got a great run down the inside. This engine was really strong that Brad has given me here down the inside, so really happy with our straight line performance. And then once these tyres have come up to temperature, they've got so much grip. These cars were really physical, pulling like over 1G through the corners, which when you're not used to that is fairly high. So yeah, we're just coming into the final laps of this testing session, and actually here we're going to jump on board with Alex Van Gien, because number 17, is it number 17? Yeah, has a look up the inside, not quite the space there. I think he was going for something that a gap that evaporated, so he did go over the grass. But yeah, really great racing in this session. Great to learn how these guys are racing each other and what to do here. So yeah, one mistake I learned here is that if you look here, I'm leaning into the corner and losing the rear end of the kart. Now this is something that's wired into me from Lawn Mower Racing, where you have to lean off the side of the mower. So for this session, Brad has said that's absolutely not what you do in a kart. You need to lean outwards, lean onto the tyre that you need the grip from, and in those fast corners it is that rear outside tyre. So with that said, I'm going to try and really develop my driving here, learning this car as we go into this session. And it did make a massive difference. Like when you lean the right way, it picks up that inside corner and really wants to rotate way better. So coming out into this first session, the first couple of laps are about getting the tyres up to temperature and really working, because that makes a massive difference. So we're following Paul round here, stuck in his slipstream. I'm just going to show you my fastest lap of the day. So we're going to come through this top as well, kind of straight, on the brakes, flicking it in, keeping it as narrow as we can, back on the throttle at the apex there. It's still flat all the way through this fast chicane, taking a fair bit of curb just to open it up. Still flat all the way down this straights. We've got a little bit of slipstream from the kart ahead. Hard on the brakes, turn it in, back on the throttle now, running all the way out to the outside of the track. Now moving over to the right, this corner is just about flat out. So we're sticking it all the way around there. Again, another easy flat corner through here, and this last corner is just about flat out. So if you lean the right way and get everything working, it does go through there flat out on hot tyres. So that was our best session of the day. What's it going to be as we go over the line here? And it's going to be a 42.111. So fairly happy with that. About half a second off Brad's pace, but he is leading the championship. So not displeased with that.
So just got in from my final testing session. This thing is incredible. Although the power is lower to keep things cheap, we know why that is. It still has so much grip. It's way, way, way faster than any rental kart you've been in. The grip you've got around here, around this really quite technical fast track, is amazing. So this was loads and loads of fun. Make sure to subscribe, because next week I'll be dropping the full race video. So we've got 3 heats and a final. And so you'll see how I get on against people who do this properly. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.